When I hear someone say, we never fight, we never argue, I think either bullshit or two, uh-oh. If in fact there are no disagreements, no arguments in your relationship, someone is either just saying whatever they think you want to hear, or they have one foot out the door that's not worth arguing with you anymore.
You've built the business, you're crushing it in your career, you've scaled your impact, but are you winning at home?
Welcome to the 200% Marriage Podcast. We're Meredith and Craig, and we're here to help you kill that domestic drag and turn your partner into your most elite teammate.
From Russian taxi mishaps to hailstorms on the summit, we're sharing the raw and real stories and tactical drills you need to move out of roommateville and into your 200% life.
So grab your gear. It's time to build an unstoppable team. Let's dive in.
Welcome back to another episode of the 200% Marriage Podcast with Meredith and Craig. We've been reading our book, The 200% Marriage, Your Winning Playbook to Be an Unstoppable Team. This is episode or chapter 22. And we're each reading the chapters that we wrote, and I happen to read chapter 22, so I'm going to kick it off. Got anything to say?
Nope. All you. Let's go.
Chapter 22, Conflict Without Combat. Don't raise your voice, improve your argument. Desmond Tutu. You are married to another human being. You will have conflict with them from time to time. That's just the way it is. When you, on your own journey through life, join forces with another human being on their journey, conflict is inevitable. Please understand, it will happen. Here's the cool part. Not only is it completely normal, but it's actually a good sign for your relationship. Now, you may be remembering back to a particular conflict you had with your teammate and muttering under your breath, what the fuck is this guy talking about? Because that certainly didn't seem like it was a good thing. Let me explain. Conflict means you're both being yourselves. You're showing up fully in your marriage. One of you isn't changing who you are to appease the other person. That means you both feel safe enough to be yourselves, to advocate for what you want in your relationship. That's healthy. Let's celebrate that. Give yourself and your teammate a high five. That was a high five for us. The other totally awesome thing about conflict, besides being a huge green flag, is that conflict is an opportunity to deepen your bond and get closer. It gives you the chance to show up for each other, to compromise, to build trust, to deepen respect, to learn about each other, and to grow together. If it's done productively. That's a big if. Conflict has to be done productively. So let's walk through how to do it productively. We find it helpful to think of conflict in three parts. 1, pre-conflict, the ground rules you set ahead of time. 2, the conflict itself, how to handle the actual conversation. And 3, post-conflict, following up and preventing it from happening again. Part 1, pre-conflict. Having ground rules ready to lean on is a game changer when navigating conflict. The goal is to set your team up for success. First, lean on your frame. Remember the team frame and your 5 rules to be an unstoppable team? Go back to the beginning of part 4 if you need a little refresher. It's all about the team, the team, the team. You are a team. You and your spouse are teammates. Holding that frame close is key to moving through conflict smoothly. It's essential to establish structure in advance. In other words, before the conflict hits. During conflict is definitely not the time to roll out new rules, because when emotions are high, you aren't at your best. Remember, high emotion equals low intelligence. Your rules of engagement must already be in place, and the teammate frame must be at the center of everything. Here's where couples often stumble. During conflict, many people try to lawyer each other, like they're auditioning for a role in their favorite courtroom drama. But if you're trying to win, you're actually trying to make your teammate lose. And if your teammate loses and you're on the same team, that means you lose too. If you're playing a win-lose game in your marriage, the truth is you will always lose in the long run. That's a terrible way to build a marriage. The only way to truly win is to get back on the same team and find a solution together. So yes, conflict requires rules of engagement, and here are the big 3. 1, no name calling. This may seem like a no-brainer, but you'd be surprised how many people resort to name calling in the heat of battle. Don't do it. Ever. You want to call them sweetie? Fine. You want to call them asshole? Bite your tongue. Even if they might sort of, a little, kinda be acting like one. It literally never helps. Name calling escalates conflict, which if you're paying attention, you know is the opposite of what we're trying to accomplish here. 2, no yelling. Yelling also escalates the conflict. It usually happens when someone feels unheard, but the louder you get, the less likely the other person is to listen. So instead of feeling heard, you make things worse. Set the rule now. We do not yell at each other under any circumstances. 3. Vulnerabilities are off limits. If you and your teammate have shared your deepest fears and struggles, and if you're doing it right, you have, those are never to be used as weapons in a conflict. Nothing destroys trust faster than using vulnerabilities as grenades in an argument. Don't go there. Ever. Really, all of this boils down to one thing: respect. Respect is the foundation of your relationship. Without it, the team is in trouble. The lesson we all learned in kindergarten remains undefeated. Treat others the way you want to be treated. You don't want to be called names, yelled at, or have your insecurities weaponized against you, so don't do it to your teammate. To sum it up, set the rules to always be a team, focus on team solutions, not personal wins, and don't be an asshole. That about covers it. On to part 2. Part 2, the conflict. Earlier we mentioned the big 3: money, parenting, and the thing that leads to parenting. Yep, you got it, or at least I hope you got it: sex. Money, parenting, and sex together are known as the big 3 because they're the top 3 sources of conflict in marriage. Take our word for it. Or Google it. This is a bibliography-free zone. From our interactions and work with thousands of couples, we'd also add a 4th: in-laws and family dynamics. The amount of conflict that arises over in-laws overstepping or time spent with one family over another is astounding. So really, the big 3 just became the big 4. Chances are your conflict lands in one of these 4 buckets: money, parenting, sex, or extended family bullshit. Knowing this helps for a couple reasons. First, you know that you're not alone. It's normal. And second, if you can improve in these areas, you'll eliminate the vast majority of recurring conflicts. Now, here are 5 strategies to handle conflict productively. 1. Use I statements. Speak from your perspective and how it reflects your experience. Avoid speaking for others or bringing others into your team's business. Stick with how you feel. Speak your truth. 2. Be specific. Ditch absolutes like always and never. Instead of "you never help out with the kids at bedtime," try "I've done bedtime 4 nights in a row and I'm exhausted. Can you take over tonight?" 3. Listen to understand. There is a difference between listening to understand and listening to respond. Most people, most of the time, are listening to respond. Remember, your side is only one side of the conflict, and you must speak your truth. What's equally essential is that you give your teammate the same courtesy to speak their truth. Listen to understand where they're coming from, to understand their perspective. Empathy is your friend. 4. Find the seed of agreement. Even in significant conflicts, there's something you can both agree on, however small. Maybe it's just, we don't want to fight anymore. Start there to get back on the same side. That is the seed from which everything else will grow. Build from that seed. It's essential to get back on the same side of the table as soon as possible. 5. Focus on the solution. You get more of what you focus on. Get aligned on the problem, then shift your focus to solution-seeking mode. And remember, it's not your solution. It's not their solution. It's the team's solution. The solution is always based on what's best for the team. So let's bring it all together with some examples. Example 1. You're a dipshit. You're always gone. You're never home. I always have to take care of the kids all by myself, and I never get any help from you. Even though you're always working, we never have any money for anything. And when you're home, you're constantly pooping. I don't care what you have to say because I've never met anyone who's more full of shit than you. In case it was not obvious, this is an example of unhealthy conflict. Example 2. I appreciate that you're working hard to provide for us, and I'm really proud of all the work you're putting in to create a better financial future for us. I need you to know that I'm really struggling. I feel overwhelmed and exhausted. This week has been really hard getting 3 kids fed and down for bed the last 4 nights. I could really use your help. I need to recharge. Could you come home early tonight and do bedtime with the kids so that I can get a little time for myself? Can you feel the difference? Example 1 comes out of the gates hot. They set the whole thing up for failure from the jump with name calling. They use absolutes with no focus on the solution. Plus, they call their teammate out for their pooping habits. Is nothing sacred? This whole conversation was a shit show. Pun very much intended. Example 2 takes a different approach. No name calling. They make their teammate feel seen and respected. They use specific examples while acknowledging their own feelings and needs, and they focus on the solution. They ask a question to engage their teammate in the conversation to hear their perspective. You can feel the respect. The emotion stays low. They are clearly on the same team, working together to find a solution for the team. Plus, no poop shaming. Be more like example 2. This is how we grow through conflict. Part 3, post-conflict. This stage is a choose your own adventure. You'll either nail it or mess up somewhere in the first 2 parts. Honestly, you'll probably mess up more than you nail it, especially in the early days of building some of these new relationship muscles. No shame, messing up is all part of the learning process. If you did nail it, post-conflict is about following through. Do what you said you'd do. Using our example above, if you agreed to come home early to get the kids fed and put to bed the next night, make sure you do it. Your words reflect who you want to be. Your actions reflect who you actually are. Who are you? Are you someone who follows through on their commitments? Be that person. Following through builds massive trust. If you messed up in parts 1 or 2, you have 2 choices. You can stay stuck in conflict, not ideal, or you can own your part and repair it. Repairing requires taking responsibility for your part and apologizing for it sincerely. Simple, but not necessarily easy. It's simple because it's not complicated. Make a mistake, own it, apologize for it. It's not rocket science, but don't mistake simple for easy. Apologizing isn't easy. If you have trouble with it, you're not alone. It's totally normal. Think about it. Since we were kids, we were taught that being wrong is bad. Apologizing means admitting you're wrong. Apologizing is weak. So if you have a hard time apologizing, it's likely been that way since you were a kid. Our nephews are 7 and 9, and they would rather chew off their own right arm than admit they were wrong and apologize, especially to each other. Mare has a great story about this that she wants to jump in and tell.
I was babysitting my cousin. She was probably around 9 years old. Her dad had taken her brother to watch a basketball game, and she thought it should have been her turn to go with dad to watch the basketball game. So she was less than thrilled to be stuck at home with me. I made her dinner, but she wasn't eating it. I tried to convince her to eat. She was having none of it. She threw a tantrum, the likes of which I'd never witnessed before in real life. She was crying under the table, pounding the floor with her arms and legs like a cartoon character's hissy fit. She was inconsolable. I tried explaining to her that I understood why she was mad at her dad, and also that it wasn't cool to take it out on me. I was just trying to have a fun movie night and treat night with her, but she was being pretty mean to me. And if she apologized to me for how she was behaving, we could have a good time and she could pick the movie. Eventually, she quieted down and left the room. I assumed there would be no apology, but I was grateful she seemed to have at least tired herself out. And hopefully the rest of the evening would be less eventful. I was ready to take the win. A few minutes later, she came back into the kitchen with a sticky note stuck to her mouth that read, "I am sorry." I tried really hard not to laugh. I was proud of her for apologizing in her own way. I also found it very interesting that she couldn't bring herself to actually say the words out loud. It's such a good example of how hard it can be to admit wrong and apologize. She was just a kid, but she was conditioned, like most of us, to believe being wrong is bad. And even though she knew she was wrong, she couldn't bring herself to say the words. So she apologized the best she could. She was 9. Imagine how infinitely harder it feels to own your shit and apologize when you tack on 30 or more years of that same conditioning. Back to Craig.
We'll cut the kid some slack because she was 9. That apology coming from a grown-up? Bullshit. It's not just Mare's cousin, though. Most people don't do apologies very well. They don't know how. I know I was never taught it. My lesson went as far as, say you're sorry. Here's a quick tutorial so you and your teammate don't have any more bullshit apologies. Step 1, express remorse. You did it. You probably didn't mean to do it, but it still hurt them. So acknowledge that you feel bad about hurting them, use heartfelt language, and be sincere. Step 2, take responsibility. We covered this. Having a 200% marriage is about taking full responsibility for everything in your marriage. Nothing new here. Acknowledge the part you played, no excuses, no blaming, own it. Quick side rant, and never use the word but in an apology. We've referenced big buts several times, so you know how we feel about them. We like them, usually. Not here. Absolutely no buts. For example, I'm sorry, but you made me angry. The but literally invalidates every word you said that came before it. Remove all buts from your apology. While we're on the topic, remove all ifs too. For example, I'm sorry if you feel hurt. It doesn't take any responsibility when you add an if to your apology. If you want a real stinker of an apology, combine them. I'm sorry if you feel hurt, but you made me so angry. Garbage apology. End of rant. Step 3. Make it right. Offer to make amends. Be open to hearing what they need from you to rebuild trust. Follow through on what you agree to do. Step 4. Don't do it again. Nothing kills trust faster than repeating the same behavior. Learn, adapt, improve. The flip side of apologizing is forgiving. Merrick chit-chatted with you about forgiveness in chapter 13, so I'll just add this little tidbit. When your teammate apologizes sincerely, do your very best to forgive them quickly so that you can move forward together. Conflict is inevitable. Combat is a choice. If you remind yourself that marriage is a team sport and aim to strengthen your team through each conflict, it won't feel like combat. Instead, you'll grow, build trust, and deepen your bond every time you show up for each other. Now that we're through the conflict, it's time to reconnect you with Mare.
That was chapter 22.
That was chapter 22, okay? Conflict without combat.
That chapter, I think, might be the most tactical chapter of the entire book.
Yeah, I agree. There's a lot of do this, don't do that, a lot of steps. It's also one of the ones that I think historically a lot of people struggle with.
Yes.
Like they just avoid conflict and they don't know how to apologize or repair through it. Yeah, me too. Like you avoid conflict like the plague. I do too. It's not something that I think most people, it's just an uncomfortable situation, right? Conflict is inherently uncomfortable. And as humans, we're wired for comfort. So we want to stay the hell away from discomfort and conflict as much as possible.
I think I'm more conflict averse than average.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I would agree with that.
Yeah. I find it hard. It takes a lot out of me to deal with conflict.
Yeah.
It's helped a lot going back to the connection or comfort chapter, like to know that it's in service of the relationship.
Yeah.
And so I
I think that's an important reframe.
Yeah.
Like, because I don't think that gets enough
airtime.
Airtime. Yeah. People think like, oh, conflict, avoid, it's bad for my relationship. Not understanding that actually, no, it's a green flag. It's actually a good thing.
Yeah, I like starting the chapter with that actually because you hear it all the time. And I know some people are bullshitting probably, some people are probably telling the truth, but oh, we never fight. And when I hear someone say, we never fight, we never argue, I think either bullshit or two, uh-oh.
Yeah. But also I think it's people's definition of what fight is, right? Like some people think a fight is like a full out domestic, like a blowout. Disagreement and conflict is inevitable in every relationship. Fighting is like some people may take that as like a very excessive form of disagreeing or conflict.
Yeah,
and maybe they don't get to that level, but yeah, I get your point. Is like conflict and disagreement. When people say they don't disagree, they don't have conflict in their relationship.
We never argue.
To your point, one of two things is happening. Either you're full of it, or look out. Things aren't as rosy.
Someone isn't engaged in this relationship.
Someone is just going along to get along, and eventually that resentment will build to the point where they will explode and it will all come out at some point or another.
Yeah, I firmly believe that if in fact there are no disagreements, no arguments in your relationship, someone is either just saying whatever they think you want to hear to get along with you, or they have one foot out the door that's not worth arguing with you anymore.
That's tough.
The no arguments thing is a big red flag in a relationship. So I like that we start the chapter with, no, it's a green flag because you are two human beings who have had two different life experiences to this point, and you're going to bring all that life experience and the lens through which you see the world into your relationship. And as alike and aligned as two people can be, you will never see every element of the world in exactly the same way. So there will be a conflict from time to time. Like we are very aligned in our values and our view of the world. And we have conflict.
And we are not aligned on every single view of the world.
It's impossible. expecting to be aligned. And it still sometimes surprises me when we are in conflict. Like, how do you not see it my way? Like, I really, some things like,
Why are you wrong? Like, I
I-
don't understand why you don't see it the
blows my
right way.
mind
Like, my way is the right way, very clearly. Like, I don't understand how someone as smart as you
Yeah.
doesn't see this as a problem or
Yeah.
not a problem.
Exactly. That's exactly how I feel when you don't have the same view as me on certain topics.
I get it.
It blows my mind.
I get it. You're not the only one.
Yeah. So it's an important frame to remember that it is good. You both want to bring your own perspective into the relationship and into the conversation.
Yeah.
And then you can seek alignment, understand each other, grow.
I think avoiding conflict is one of the wedges that gets driven into relationships
Yes, very much.
that actually is the like the death nail or whatever.
Yeah.
Like
I was gonna say death nail. I should have.
we're aligned. Um, I really do think that avoiding conflict is actually the exact thing that is damaging more relationships
Yeah.
than
The avoiding arguments is damaging more relationships than arguments most of the time.
yeah. Yeah.
And so getting to the argument, um, there's three simple rules. There's a lot of rules and there's a lot of things in this chapter, and so there's a lot of underlining and highlighting and things to remember. But I think the rules are pretty simple.
Don't be an asshole. It boils down to don't be an asshole.
Don't yell. No one likes to be yelled at. And we like I grew up with yelling, and I really do believe most of the time, if not virtually all the time, it comes from not feeling heard. So my voice gets louder when I feel like you're not hearing me.
But it similar to the conflict, it having the opposite effect.
100% opposite
Yelling,
effect.
opposite effect.
Yeah, I'm
No one's
less
listening.
likely to listen to you when you raise your voice at me.
No one's listening to you yelling.
So one of the antidotes to yelling is to, as hard as it can be sometimes, just let them say it all. Like everything they want to say, let them say it all. Don't interrupt them. And then when they're done, confirm. Is that everything that you wanted to share? Because I'm going to go next, and I want to make sure you've had your opportunity to share your whole perspective. And they feel at least like you've heard them. They've had the opportunity, and then you can share your side. So then no yelling.
And on top of that, to even further that, if you really want to make them feel heard, you can repeat back to them what you heard in your words so that they get it, an idea that, oh yeah, I actually did listen.
And the second one, well, actually was the first one, I think, no name calling.
Yeah.
It's obvious in these moments of calm, but it happens more often than you'd like to think.
You gotta know when you call someone out of their name that it's gonna escalate things.
Yeah, you call someone a dipshit or a jackass or an asshole or
anything
anything
that's not sweetie, babe, honey, love.
Yeah, it
Cupcake.
turns off that part of your brain where you can be logical and stay locked into a productive conversation. So by you calling them a name, you've escalated this conversation significantly and turned off, at least for the moment, the ability to actually resolve it productively. So that's on you. And then the third one, the vulnerabilities, is probably those two are important. The first two are very important. I think the third one, the not weaponizing vulnerabilities.
You call someone a dipshit, that can be kind of laughed off, and it's still serious. Don't do it. But if you really weaponize something that someone told you in confidence and throw it back in their face,
You are an asshole.
then then you're the asshole that you're calling them.
Yeah. That nothing is going to kill trust faster. No one is going to share something private and important and vulnerable with you again if they can't trust that you're not going to throw it back in their face the next time you get upset.
Yeah.
And if you can't hold that for someone, they're going to stop sharing that. And if they stop sharing that, you don't have a relationship anymore. Your connection will die if you don't share the shit going on inside of you. So not fighting fair, not arguing within these confines of these rules is the fastest way to kill a relationship.
Couldn't agree more.
I also wanted to talk about apologizing.
Go ahead.
Apologizing is hard for me.
Apologizing is hard for everyone.
I did not grow up that I can ever remember seeing an apology with my parents. I'm sure it probably happened. Like I'm sure it did, but I don't remember it. And so it's not something that happened regularly, was commonplace, was role modeled, was a thing that happened.
I feel like most perfectionists aren't great at apologizing because it's admitting wrong.
Yeah.
And if you're a perfectionist, that's like I'd rather peel my skin off my body than admit I'm wrong.
Yeah, because my value is so tied to being right.
Yeah.
that admitting wrong is really challenging.
Yeah, well, apologizing, and look, the apple doesn't fall far from the tree with these boys,
Yeah.
niece and nephew, like these boys, like we talk about in the book, they'd rather chew off their arm
Mm-hmm.
than apologize, especially to each other.
Mm-hmm.
I remember we were out in the backyard, and I can't remember exactly what happened, but Jake did something to Nate and
Mm-hmm.
hurt him. 8-year-old to a 10-year-old. They were 6 and 8 then, but hurt him. I was like, Jake, apologize, and then retaliation happens,
Mm-hmm. Of
right?
course. Yeah.
So they've both done something to each other. So now I'm trying to get them each to apologize to the other for what they did. Oh my goodness! And you thought I was asking them to like cut off their arm? I swear, like it was like pulling teeth, and like under his breath as he's walking away, he finally maybe
Muttered
muttered the words. I don't even know if they were in the right order
language.
or in the right language. But yeah, words came out of his mouth, and we are like, all right, well, we're gonna. He said sorry. What about you? And like, I'm sorry too. Whatever. And we kept going, but yeah, it was a
Hard.
challenge.
Yeah. And obviously with my cousin, I mean, with her posted, we'll tell that story at her wedding, which is probably coming up soon. Like that story is imprinted on me forever. It was so fun. I tried really hard. I did not laugh, but I wanted to with the little post-it over her little mouth. And I'm like, wow, she can't even bring herself to say the words out loud.
Yeah.
It's wild.
Yeah, but I think
I agree.
most people don't. First of all, it's uncomfortable and don't want to because it's admitting wrong, and two, don't know how to do it.
Yeah.
Don't know how to do it appropriately or effectively.
Oh my gosh, how many apologies
But
have you heard with the butts in the if?
Yeah, I'm
I'm
sorry.
sorry if I hurt your feelings.
I'm sorry if I hurt your feelings.
It makes it feel like it's my fault for getting my feelings hurt.
It's like, no, it's not if you hurt my feelings, motherfucker. You hurt my feelings. But this apology isn't like doing anything for that either.
And it's interesting because most people, I think, believe they need to apologize only for their intention. Well, I didn't intend to hurt you. I didn't mean to hurt your feelings, so I don't have to apologize. You got your feelings hurt. That's on you. I didn't mean to hurt your feelings.
Well, that's great that you didn't mean to, but here we are.
Yeah.
Me
so,
with a pile of hurt feelings here.
Apologies are for your impact, not for your intention. Simon Sinek explains this well, where if you're walking through a crowded airport rushing to catch your flight and you've got your little police suitcase coming behind you and you accidentally roll it over someone's foot, you turn around and you say, "Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't ever intend to roll my suitcase over your foot, but I did. And so I apologize because I did, which is the impact. I don't not apologize because I didn't mean to and your fucking foot was in the way, so tough shit for you. No, that's my suitcase. I pulled it. I pulled it over your foot. I apologize because that's the impact. We apologize for impact, not for intention. And that's really hard because I didn't mean to hurt your feelings.
But here I am over here with hurt feelings.
Right.
What can I do about it?
And so I'm going to apologize because the impact of what I said, even though I didn't mean to, was that I hurt your feelings.
Right. And as a teammate, I'm going to do my best to forgive you. As long as you didn't, like, this isn't a repeat offense and you're doing it every day.
And that's a good point. Going back to the fourth rule of an apology is you can give the world's greatest apology, but if you keep doing that same shit over and over and over and over again, I don't believe you.
Pretty thin.
Yeah.
Yeah. It loses all credibility.
Yeah.
I'm not going to believe you next time you apologize for something, even if you are really sorry about it.
Yeah. In that moment, if you do it again, then you've just negated your whole apology. So those are my big takeaways from that. Also, the other one, my other favorite part of this chapter, I guess, is the listen to understand. Like, most of us do just wait for the other person to stop talking and fill in the blank with our space.
I do feel like sometimes I'm still guilty of that. I try really hard not to be guilty of that, but in conversations, like, oh, that was a great. They just said something. I want to get my word. I want to get that thought out, and then you kind of miss the next part of the conversation, and they may actually even make the same point.
Yeah.
Right, and it's just like.
But I'm distracted now.
But I've got the thing I want to say.
Yeah.
And so I ran that in there, and it's like, all right, well, you didn't hear the other half of the conversation where either they already said that's no longer relevant, or you just missed some really valuable connection time with that person. So it's something I still have to like.
In every conversation, but especially in a disagreement. Like actually listening to understand their perspective.
For sure.
I'm not just trying to get you on my side. The point, I think this is an important point, is like the point of the conflict, which we talked about at the beginning, is not to win the argument. It's not to make you finally realize that you're wrong and I'm right. And you're going to say, oh, I get it now. I'm fully on board with your perspective. Like that is almost never going to happen. That is not the goal of the disagreement.
Yeah.
The goal of the disagreement is for me to better understand your perspective and for you to better understand mine. We don't have to agree on whose perspective is the best one. Yours works for you, mine works for me, and we better understand each other. And if you don't actually listen to understand their perspective, you're just trying to always make them see it from your side, then you miss that completely and you don't actually get to grow together and connect stronger based on the disagreement. So the listening to understand is a really challenging skill to build, but critical to being able to stay connected through conflict.
100%. 200%. 200%, McKay. 200%.
200%.
200%. Anything else you'd like to chit chat about?
No, that's all I got for today.
So that's that episode. So we're next firing up chapter 23, and we've got you.
I'm going to take
You're
over.
going to take over. Marriage, Math, and the Holy Trinity of Connection. Going to be a beauty of a chapter. We'll see you next time. Bye.